Hello, welcome back to my stream. Hello everybody in chat, really appreciated the watches and also if you follow. Today we're gonna do something else, a little bit easier and better to understand for everybody. We want to create a to-do list and we're gonna do that using Blazor. For the people that don't know, Blazor is an .NET framework that allows you to create client-side code in your browser. So let's get started. If you want to know more about the project or the framework or my experience with it, just ask in the chat and I'll try to answer you as quick as possible. So at this moment we get two options. You have Blazor server-side and Blazor WebAssembly. So Blazor server-side basically means that you create the code is generated on the server just like normal MVC or another server-side web project, but instead of doing HTTP calls, it sends all the data and HTML through Signal R, what's basically WebSockets, and this allows it to refresh really fast and basically act like JavaScript without writing JavaScript. You do need internet always to the server, and you also have Blazor WebAssembly, and Blazor WebAssembly allows you to create an entirely client-side project. So once you loaded the project, everything should work. So that's the one we choose. You can, if you create it correctly, you can change them pretty easy. The only difference is that the server-side project can make database calls, but the client side you should use the API and then make the client side of the database calls. So we don't need authentication. We want HTTPS. You can have core hosted, so it also already creates an API for you and serves it. But we're gonna skip that for now. So now we created the project. It does create some default things for you. In pages, they create 3 default pages. We're gonna check them out, but we'll delete them later. So quickly fire this up. Let's give it a quick load. And now you can see it's working. There's a quick fetch data. This is just through a service, and this is a counter. So normally if you want to do something like this, you want to use JavaScript, but I prefer C#, and Blazor allows you to do this, so just plus plus. And if we're checking the code, So basically, this is your HTML. This is defining what page it is. This is a simple variable that checks the current value, and this is the function we call here on a click, and that increases it. And the fetch data is basically the same. It uses some JSON data, as you can see here, and it displays it here. We don't need it. We're gonna delete it also, but if you're starting out with your first project, it's really easy to keep this for a while, as it displays how you can do some stuff, and it makes it easier. So I also deleted the CSS, as I want to use Tailwind later, but for now we just create a little bit of the to-do list. You can also delete the survey prompts. I mostly keep this intact, but we can change it for the layout. And this is the main layout, and the body is the part that's getting loaded. So we don't need about, because we already know what we're doing. So that's part one. Now create a quick new page. And create a new class. And a Blazor component. To-do list component. So what I like to do is separate the code in the HTML. So we're just gonna component and Blazor.cs. So this makes it basically stack in Visual Studio, but we need to make it partial. So everything inside this class is accessible through the HTML, but makes it cleaner. And if you get a little bit bigger for some stuff, it's really nice to separate the two. So for our index page, just add the components, and can remove the code as we use the code behind. And let's check how it works. If you have any questions or any song requests, make sure to drop them in the chat. Yeah, you can see that a lot of the UI broke, but we don't really care too much about it. But we can see our to-do list component. So let's go through it. So now we create a list, and we just want to display all the items. So we basically want something like this. We want to have a checkbox to check it. Name, status, and then the a label containing the input of the create model for check for to-do list. Quickly run it. If you don't need to, you can debug this code. It works perfectly fine. But if you don't want to do it, I recommend not running it with debug, as it makes it a lot quicker. So we made a pretty ugly list, and yeah, just a checkbox. So now change the static HTML to some dynamic. So let's start with a model for the to-do item. So quickly create a folder. And a to-do item. Give it a status, and if it's not checked, that's basically the only two states for now. And let's give it a string with the name. So now we create a list containing the two to-do items. To do private only to do. Let's make it a property public. Not be able to set, but new list. So we're gonna quickly check it, and let's add some names. Add CSS. Of course, we need to use the name. And name at API. So if we ever want to create it online. Let's quick one first, and grab a drink. It's really important to stay hydrated, so in the HTML, if you want to call the code, basically, you can use the @ sign, and you can see the autocomplete says this, but we want to create a for each loop for to-do item in to-do items, and move this in it, and just basically bind it. So again with the add, and then we have the to-do item, a name, and if you want to bind this one is just it's not an input, and we don't need to change it, so we can just simply paste it here as text. But for the checkbox, we want to check if it checks, so we do bind, and then we to-do item. That's status. Now let's check if it works. So everybody that's in the stream right now, really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, or if you have any song requests. So now we can see that without creating 3 list options, it created it pretty good. And you can check it, but we're not really doing anything with it. But that works perfectly, so that's great. So a prefer of a list without the option to add new items is pretty stupid. So let's work on that. Let's create a new input. I don't want an input checkbox, so I just want a normal input with a type of text. And let's bind it to a variable, but we first need to create it. So after a while we will separate this, and it should be better, but for now it's really easy to just put it all on one thing and then separate it. That's mostly how I work. New to-do item name. Let's create again in a setter. And again, I'm not sure why Visual Studio does that weird autocomplete, but I don't like it. And let's bind it to new to-do item. And create a quick button with add, and we want to add an on click. So basically when we click it, we want to clear the form and add it to our list. So quickly create a function here. You can do it inline, but for most things that's the best way. So add to-do list item, add to-do item to list. We don't need any parameters, as we can just grab that one yourself. And to-do items that add new to-do item with a name, and that's the new to-do item. And now let's clear the input, so you don't need to delete it by hand. So let's check if it works. No, because we didn't add it in our razor page. And as you can see, we can use pretty things. We can add them, it automatically clears them and adds them to the list. And because we update our view on clicks, that's happening with Blazor, but we also, if that isn't the case, you can also call the status changed. This is basically called after the click, but this makes sure that if we add an item to this is getting re-rendered. So that's pretty neat. So now we did basically the bare minimum to create a pretty cool looking to-do list. Not really, but I like to add some source control. So to-do lists, Twitch demo, creating to-do lists with Twitch. It doesn't need to be a private. So if you're ever interested in the codes or want to check it again, make sure to check the GitHub. So that's all. So now if we fuck anything up, we can. Oh, that's not correctly. But if we mess something up, we can quickly check what we did wrong and get back. So now let's add some UI. And the UI I want to add is still in CSS. So quickly check what we need to do. So the reason I like tailwind over like Bootstrap is really customizable. As you can see, it's not like every other Bootstrap UI that looks the same, not really the same, but almost the same. But it has a lot of CSS helper classes and it's really customizable. You can create your own colors, your own extra UI. Yeah, this are some examples. But you can also check the documentation. So there's a lot of really nice documentation. So if you want to check anything out, you can check it here. And if we scroll down, you can see that the UI of you can change the config, and that basically creates the CSS. So let me quickly add this. So I'm using the terminal using PowerShell, but you don't need it. Any command line or the PowerShell should work. Just make sure you have npm installed, and if you don't have npm installed, but I believe it's installed with Visual Studio, but how to install npm, and oh, that's JetBrains, that's probably not the right one. Yeah, here's just a download. So let's quickly go back. Node/v. I'm running 11.0, but that's not really important. To make sure our gulp is built correctly with all our add-ons, we use gulp. So for that we're gonna do npm install gulp CLI with a G. This basically means that it will install it on our PC instead of our project or the location where we're at this moment. And it wants me to update npm should it be too bad. So let's quickly do that. So for now we are not adding unit tests. I don't need a new folder, but we're gonna create a package.json, and that's basically all the information about what JavaScript packages we want to install, so we can build it. And it's called package.json. Let's quickly remove that and add our own dependencies. So we use gulp, post CSS, tailwind CSS, and auto prefixer. And then we're gonna take our terminal. Quickly go to our repos and go to our Todo app and install all our packages with npm install. There's no, oh wait, we should go in our product. Oh, it's called package log. Shouldn't be package log. Wait. Oh, it's on our pages. Let's move it to the root. Hello, Matt Cow. Thank you for the questions. This is I do this now for my hobby. I did some Blazor for my work. If you wanna check that out, you can check the link in the description or in the chat. Process mining .pwc.com or .nl. You just have to input your email and check that. But this to-do list is my hobby vacation. But in my vacation, I almost program as much as when I'm at work. Let's quickly ban that dude Kibeti because that looks like a bot. And thanks for the compliment. I wanna create something that resembles me with the hop, as it's my last name, and the red hair. So. Gave some errors, but that looks like look like it's fixed it right now. So for now I'm just copying some CSS of another project. But this basically makes our, if we have an error message, makes it a little bit prettier because it's shown in the web app. So just call it site.css. And create another JavaScript file in our just JSON and called it gulp.val.js. So this file is basically gonna create our CSS. So copy that if you wanna see it. I'll add everything in the repo in a second when we complete this. So call another npm install to be sure. Let's go gulp and make sure that works. Well, that's, oh, it's not in styles. Let's do that. Let's rerun this. Right. We don't want it in the root www root, as we don't want to send it to a client, as we gonna add it in our default. So as you can see, it now created a site.css. It will take a little while to open. Later we will minify it, but just basically generated a lot of CSS. So what we do now is go to our shared and then go to our of course to our index and remove those two. And quickly add this one. And we can also remove this one. And if we run this now, we're probably not gonna see too much, but I've removed a lot of stuff for us. So I did some stuff, but we will add some extra. Let's quickly remove the nav bar as not really needed for now. Edit tailwind. So if you're interested in Blazor or things I do, make sure to follow me or ask something in the chat. If you have any song requests, make sure to also post them in the chat. I just have some random tunes. So let's go to tailwind and let's make every row a container, because let's make them big. Not sure why it uses that. Oh, that's also for that. That makes it as a flex box. So if we want to make this a flex box, just go to something like here's the flex directions and stuff, but so as you can see here, there are a lot of properties. So here you can see that it will automatically fit. You can also use a grid, but most of the time I found out that the flex boxes work better with scaling, but that's just my preferences. Let's quickly find out how to make multiple rows. That's correct. I now remember. Let's make this a flex. And for this we want a width of 100%, as we just want the thing to have the entire row, as it's pretty weird to have them next to each other. But if we do like one of three, .NET watch run. So this basically this command makes sure we run it, and if we change anything, it will update it for us. So you can see it used a third of it, but we want to use 100%, so let's do that. Why isn't it? And give it a height of oh, it's full, not 100, it's full. And I give it a height of 24. So as you can see, it's now loading. It's not working correctly as I hoped. Let's use flex wrap. Let's also give this a full width, so it knows it's going to use everything. And wrap. As you can see, it now has the height and the rows. The ad's not really a nice place, but let's quickly fix that. Let's add a class of button. So if you ever used Bootstrap, you probably know the button syntax. Oh, they changed it. I did have some button themes, but not really sure where that went. Now we do it by hand. Let's create a background with the primary and make it a little bit rounded. The primary is not working. Let's make it green. Oh, it's BG. So starting with this, or restarting with this, you have a lot of time checking the UI, but after a while it gets really easy. It did say background storage. It wanted the 500, so that's basically your color. Create. Now does this has no. So in the tailwind config you can set stuff like this, that the primary color is set to a specific value, but let's worry about that later. Now give those items like a really light green background, something 200. And let's also make this rounded. So let's check that out. It's a little bit too much, so make it 100, and I believe I can use a gap here. So this is how much space is between all his children. This is not that much, but let's set 200 again. Yeah, it's a little bit too bright, but it's really easy to see, so that's good. Now pretty up the content of the list. So if we check here, we basically want the item to be centered, but vertically centered, so justify center. If we call that for the list that's centered, but not horizontally, and I believe let's quickly find that self. No. Line content. So it's content center. Quickly add this. And let's check out how it looks. Really bad, basically. Hey, Shoot, welcome. Thanks for the follow. Really appreciate it. How are you doing? See what it does if we don't justify center with flex wrap. That's better, but we still want no, this should be correct. So check if they have anything for the checkbox or inputs. Oh, This is also not what we're looking for. So they have this site and that get some free stuff, but also some paid stuff. That's also not what we wanted. We wanted some input boxes, and we should pay for this, but we don't want that. A form layout, basically. Let's check how they do that. So that's pretty cool that if you click it, it's highlighted. Let's click here, input. So what they do is basically add a border of gray on the input box. So let's quickly add that. So we can see what we're doing. And then quickly make it rounded. It's saying it cannot be in the URL, so that's fine. And now quickly check our sites. Not sure why my border isn't working. Border gray. Let's boost it up. Let's make it a block. And I just saw some CSS of the or on the checkbox. So let's quickly add that. And let's see how it looks. Looks a little bit better. Now change the font. So this is a plugin that helps you with your fonts, but we don't want to use that for now. Maybe you If people are interested, we'll do that later. So add a little bit bigger text. To the label. That looks better, but just looks still a little bit awkward. See what happens when we do a with full. This is just using auto. I believe this was the one. Nope. And also make this a height of 8. Quickly check how this. Oh, it's pretty big. Yeah, that's a little bit too big for my taste. So let's do this 4, this 4, and this 4. And let's see how that looks. Let's see what happens when we do at the 8 and the 8 here. But leave the width. Looks better, but it's not perfect, but for now let's leave it. And add some arcing on the right. And let's also do that here. Yeah, way better. So the way let's move this a little bit back in color and change this to 100, but give it a little shadow that always makes it just pop a little bit. And let's use the default shadow. So just add shadow. Let's see how it looks. I'm not sure if it's still green. But it has a little bit of different color, so let's stay with this. We can pretty good see that it's added. And let's also give our input a little shadow, and our button also remove the color of this can always add that later. Yes, so now we can see this is an input box, but we will improve this a little bit. Let's also give this a width of full. And let's give a padding of 4 on all sides. So let's see if this creates a little bit bigger button. Why is this width full, not full? Well, it's alright. To quickly fix this, let's do it like this. Outside of the music a little bit too hard for me right now, but if you have any song requests, feel free to ask them, or if you have any questions about what we want to do or see anything with Blazor, feel free to ask and I'll try to incorporate it in my stream. Now it felt and of course let's give this the width of full. Now I know for shit why this is working, but yeah, this looks a lot better. Now let's get back to Blazor, as our web app doesn't look terrible at the moment. If you like the stream, I would really appreciate it if you retweeted my going live tweet or shared with your friends. But what should we do next? If you have any requests, we can add some error messages if the chat box is empty, but we can also make the item move to the bottom if it's not in view anymore, or just hide it with or we can move our logic more to a surface, so our view only shows what it wants. Let's first do a quick fix that let's quickly do an order by. So I'm not sure how it should do, but I believe that if we now check our page, did it the wrong way around. Of course, false is a lower number, so false is translated to a 0. So now every new item is moved to the bottom. You can see they move up. So now Blazor error messages. We don't need to Blazor form validation. So what it does is we created a form, and we can we don't have to build a lot of f checks ourselves, but we can just use a lot of the built-in, like required or string length. So let's quickly check how they do it. So they use an edit form. But for now, I think we can keep it easy. And just quickly add a label here. And class, and now let's do some custom logic. So only display this one when it's empty. It's new to do new. Let's quickly add some brackets around it so the entire function knows what it does. Let's quickly do it like this. If there's any string that's empty, and let's move this to a property in this class. Equals string that empty. So this will return true if it's empty. And if it's empty, then we want nothing, and unless we want hidden, and we now need input is required for input required. And now let's quickly check Blazor check disabled. Yeah, so that works what I was hoping to do. So we can just type disabled, and then so if it's empty, it's also disabled. Let's quickly refresh. Oh, that's pretty weird. Doesn't work like I wanted it to. Oh. So as you can see, it only updates after we click out, but that's fine. And let's quickly give this a value of a string that empty. So I believe it starts with an other value, and the drags are the application at the start. Yeah, input is required. And let's quickly add a label for our input. New Todo item. And let's make the text red. Yep, input required. So we have a lot of things we can improve in the CSS, but I think for now that's fine. So everybody in the stream, really appreciate you being here. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And I'll try to answer them as good as possible. quickly add this, edit order, and error message. So as you can see, well, it's not really that bad right now, but what I like to do is really keep our components separated. So let's do that right now. So what we want to do is grab our to-do list item and insert that in here. So to-do list item components and Blazor. And there are a couple of ways we can pass arguments through here. I'm not sure why my project isn't working correctly. Maybe on next stream we'll try something like Visual Studio Code. Check if that works better. But I never really got any problems with it before, so maybe it's a combination of the Visual Studio and the OBS. No, that's already really low, so really not sure why it's being so annoying. And those errors we don't really care about. Let's quickly restart it. Now I'll restart. Let me quickly grab something to drink, and I will be right back. And I'm back. Welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody got something to drink and is ready to move on. So we now have our basic functionalities, but maybe we can add some extras like an edit button and nice cup of tea. I just have some syrup with water, but the syrup was up, so it's mostly water. Oh, let's not close that one. Yeah, lemonade. Sorry, but it's mostly water. I should have restarted it, but I didn't. Let's not play Dutch songs, as not everybody in the chat is from the Netherlands. I'm just running some random playlists, so if you have any song requests or wanna hear some playlist or whatever, just let me know. Oh, now I see why this didn't really work, because it's doesn't end on CS. Didn't really like that. Let it quickly catch up. Let's close it and reopen it or something. Yeah. So Blazor add model to components. So we basically want to give the model of the button through the new one, through the new component, and we want a parameter. So you have two tabs, cascading and more parameters. But for now we were just gonna stick to the parameter. It's pretty easy. We can just create a property and call it to do item. And now if we go to our list, to our razor view, we can do to do lists item, and we can add to do item, and then we're basically gonna pass in our model. And of course we didn't make it a component yet, so let's quickly do that. To-do list item, to-do list item. Hello, Wibbly Wobbly. Thanks for the follow. Really appreciate it. And welcome to the stream. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. So now we just copy this one and place it here and change that. Good to hear you like Blazor. I really like it, and at my work we're also working on converting our MVC project to a Blazor project, but that's taking some time as it's a pretty big project and we just started that. But I already started another project there. It was my internship, and I created entirely a client-side application on the following link if you want to check it out. If not, that's also fine. But if you have any questions about Blazor for your own projects or about what I'm doing, feel free to ask. Why isn't it seeing the to-do item? We don't want to use that model. Yeah, wibbly wobbly. It's also possible to run Blazor inside your existing MVC project. What we did was we used something called pre-rendering, so the server still rendered the page, as Blazor can sometimes be a little bit slower to load in. And after that's loaded, we sent the WebAssembly to the client, and once that was all sent there, the WebAssembly kicked in and took over the page. So basically we run Blazor inside our existing MVC application, so we don't need to run two applications side by side or create one really big project and convert it, but we can do it now page by page. And we had some really big JavaScript parts, so it would be really nice to replace that with Blazor. Now let's check out why this one is doing not what I want. Yeah, I know. Why is this looking so weird? This is doing something weird, so I'm just gonna quickly delete it and create a new class. Todo com. Let's make this partial. And add a property to do item. Like this looks better already. Now just quickly add the razor component to do item components razor. Wibbly Wobbly, are you using Visual Studio Code or are you using Visual Studio? Okay, great. So basically, as long as if you want to use code behind, you just call your razor pages like you normally would, and your classes you call the same as the razor page, but add CS behind it. So you see this is to do item component.razor.cs, and this basically makes it that it's nested under it. You can do all kind of things like for CSS it also works, but let's like if we wanna call this to do item component.razor.blah, and oh no, this one, oh, I made a typo, I think. Yeah, yeah, so this is now also nested under it. You also have something called Blazor code behind Visual Studio. Let me from create. Not really sure if I can find it. Otherwise, if you I will send it later to you, but there's an package that allows you to create it in one go. So you just do add and new item, and then you do, oh, I already have it installed. Blazor code behind. So if we call this random, and thank Karchen for the follow, really appreciate it. But this now creates the class and the razor view in one go. Karchen, if you have any questions or any song requests, feel free to ask them in the chat, and we'll be happy to help. So now we moved our class to a different file to keep it clean, and also to make it reusable, but it's now to do item components. So if this reloads, it should still work as before, and it does. Yeah, wibbly wobbly. I can let me quickly check my files, documents. This is Studio 2019. Yeah, so what it is basically a zip, and we can check it out, but it contains some template stuff, and it just creates the files. I'll add you as a friend, and maybe I can send it to you after the stream. But this this is how it's created. I still want to remove like the HTTP client, as I'm not really using that in my constructors or in my components, as I really like to keep them separate in the service. If you have any requests about what we can add to the application or anything else, feel free to ask it in the chat, and I'll try to focus on that as that's possible. Let's go here and update this so we can edit and delete existing ones. So we basically want to create a button with for now we call it edit, but later we will create a nice button for it. And let's create an on-click and call edit. Let's just call it edit. Not don't really know about a name for it. And let's create a function for it. Public void So now we just create a variable. We don't need to set it to false default, since it's already that. And editing is true. And quickly, let's skip this song. If anyone has any song requests, feel free to ask it in the chat. Let's also create a save. And delete. The delete is going to work a little bit different, but for now that should be fine. Let's just call this console bright line. Deleting. So just to find out that now it is. So if editing is true, we don't want to display your label, but we want to display a checkbox. So if we're editing, else, and let's create an input. Not an input radio. Let's quickly copy those texts over, make it rounded, and border gray 300, something like that. We can see that it has a border. Let's quickly check how it looks. Not sure if there's something wrong with the watch, but I don't see any reason it doesn't display the button. Yeah, no, it does. Edit. Yeah, that works pretty good. So let's call a public string new name. Just let get set, and on the edit, let's new name equals let's bind it so the values are updated. So the save should just be overriding the new item. Name equals new name. If we ever add saving to the local storage or to the API, we should do more, but for now just overriding it should be fine. And of course we should set the editing to false, so the normal state is returned. Let's check how that looks. Let's edit. Let's we didn't add our pretty button, so we can add this button to the label and quickly copy this one and just call this save. Let's quickly create, add a little bit of pretty, shadow, and let's make it rounded. It looks pretty ugly, but it works, looks like. So add CSS. And now if we edit this one, we don't want an API, but we want local storage. It's called like that. So that works. And let's check if this works correctly. That also worked, so it's getting better. Now quickly, we should move this one to the back and don't force the width. And let's quickly check. What the easiest way would be to it happens if we give it this. Doesn't work. For all the people in the stream, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. If you have any song requests, also just post them in the chat. Now see what I can do if I can find it. Oh, we already made it a flex box. That would mean that it should be able to solvent. This is the wrong one, but oh. Let's check if this works, and otherwise we're gonna fix it on another way. Let's see what this does. Well, that didn't really work like I wanted to. Let's see how this looks. I've fixed it, but it's still not on the right. Oh, I have an idea. Should that work? Well, just leave it for now. I don't need to hide auto. And on the edit one, I also want the delete one. Well, I'll come back here later and clean it up more, but an easy way to do this is And let's give this a padding of right of 4 of a margin. Quickly refresh this one. It looks better. It's not perfect, but you call edit. Let's make it 4 out of 5 out of 6. And also give the buttons a padding of 4, so just look a little bit better. That's better. Let's see how this looks. Just a little bit too small on the padding. Not sure, but let's only make the padding on the XX, as it already had some height. And also make this not 4, I like to make this 4 of 5. Let's hope that this looks better. Way better. And if we press delete and we check our console, we should see deleting test. Deleting. That looks really good, but in here we cannot really delete our item, as that would mean like we can remove the name, but the item is still on the list. So what we do is, let me quickly grab the Blazor page. Is it the event handling? The event callback. So basically you create a parameter in what is a callback, and well, we will put our own object in it, but let's quickly add this one. Let's add it on top. I would like to add the parameters above, and it's gonna give the to-do item. And this one is gonna invoke the callback on delete. So just as it's gonna invoke the on delete, It's not displaying. What's invoke async, just call that. Not really sure why it didn't work. Let's make this a task. Async. So let's await this and just add our item in it. And now we want to create an not on the item, but on the list itself. Just create a function public void remove to-do list and just call to-do items dot remove. So that this should just remove it. Pretty easy, that's nothing too complicated. Let's hope it works. For everybody in the chat and watching, really appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat and I will try to answer them as quickly as possible. If you have any song requests, also post them. Yeah, the delete function works correctly. Test. Let's and delete. Hello. Edit. So that works pretty good. We should we now have a really basic to-do app, but the problem with this is that it's really bad that if you refresh your page, all your to-do items are reset. It makes it really hard. So for now, let's add them to our local storage. So just quickly check how we could do that. Blazor add to local storage. This is a library of Chris Sanity. He's a really good programmer. It's also a Microsoft MVP. It's also a blog. So if you want to check about Blazor, so if you want to check it out, just search his name and you will find it. So basically to install, we just call this function. Let's create a new command line and install So that works pretty easy. We just add it to our dependency injection, so we can use the storage. Yeah, this is the same thing as this. You can also give some config options with it. And we're just gonna insert the iLocal storage service. So let's start with this. And the library should be... Oh. Yes, we don't want that. Okay, I'm too lazy to do I have that installed. So nope. That's my work laptop. Let's just add it like this. This works just as well. So what we're doing now is adding the library of Christianity, and this one just lets us access the local storage. So that's storage in your browser, so we can save some data so it doesn't get deleted once we refresh it. And just quickly checking the API, we can just set async, get item async, and yeah, it's pretty easy, shouldn't be too hard. Sorry, just needed to sneeze. Let's quickly check how we wanted it to be added. Just go. So now we have this added, but I like to wrap, or however you want to call it, in our own service, so we don't really care about how it's saved, but just that it's saved. So let's do that. First, create a folder with services. So this folder just contains all our services. So this is for most logic. I want to create a service, as it's pretty easy to test, and it really keeps your stuff separated and really reusable. We wouldn't be adding any tests today, but if you're interested in that, feel free to drop that in the chat, and I will maybe do that in another live stream. There's also a library called BUnit, and that lets you test all your Blazor components. It's really cool, but I didn't have too much time to play with it, but would be really fun if you guys are interested to do the to-do lists service. So first create a name for our setting for to-do list. So private, not private. Let's create a constant string storage key, and let's just call it a to-do list. Public void save, and this should return our input an enumerable to do item enumerable. I type it incorrectly, or what's going wrong? I did, but not sure why my Visual Studio is not helping me. But to do list, and also create the storage, and as my Visual Studio refuses to help me, I just copy it. Local storage service. So the main reason I also do this is if we ever want to create an API instead of using local storage, we can just change the implementation, and the code for the rest doesn't really any change. There could be some optimizing, but to only save the things that are changed. But for now, we just save the entire list in the local storage. And then it's set async. And we want to use the storage key and the to-do list. Oh wait, and of course let's make this async. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. Enumerable to do item. Get so this looks pretty good. Now let's just extract all the functions in a separate interface, so we can implement the interface instead of the implementation. And now let's quickly add this one. Services.add scoped to do to do. How did we call it? To do list service. Quickly add the references. So now we can add this one. Let's quickly fix the namespace of the interface. And I clean up this. Let's do a little bit less of the music, a little bit slower. Now go to our component. The list component. You could do this from the iList, but I don't really like that. I like this is the managing component. I'm not sure if you could add the dependency injection like this. Private read only Todo list service. Create a constructor for this because it doesn't want to help me today. Visual Studio normally would do a lot of those things. If anyone knows how to fix that, feel free to give me a message. As it's starting to be really annoying. So now if something is deleted, let's quickly save our item. And yeah, let's check if this works. We can just view it. There's an error. If you're watching the stream and enjoying what you're seeing, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a follow. It really helps me and it motivates me to keep the stream alive. Okay, it looks like it now works again. Not sure what happens and why it didn't work. Oh, it doesn't work. I need to do a different way of dependency injection. So instead of this, we're just gonna make it a public property. Public and say injects. Quickly paste it here. This is the wrong place. Sorry, my bad. Let's do this on the correct place in the components. So remove this, rename this to do, and make it a public property. And let's tell it to let it inject. Let's refresh and see if it worked. So if we delete this and we check our local storage, we can see it has 2 items and it's not in it anymore. So that's pretty good. So now make sure that once we load it, it's also uses the correct one. So Blazor life cycle. So Blazor has a few life cycles, and like on initialize, so after on initialize, if we copy this name, if after parameter set or on initialize or on, so on the after parameter set, and also on after render. So that's and we also has should render, and I believe there's also one that's on destroy or something in that focus, but we don't need that now. So just create an protected overrides for right task. And now just set this await. But it wants a list instead of an enumerable. So just call to list. And let's make it a private set, but No, it's not necessary. Just make it a set. If we're gonna check our page, it's probably gonna break. Yep, because it's trying to loop. Wait. Here. It's trying to loop through all this, but there's no list, so it cannot loop through it. So do items.any or does not equal null. Let's do this for this one. Move this here. Else. Let's does that a spinner? Yes, it does. Let's quickly fix a check if this works. We don't need the word processing, and we don't really need the button, but let's see how it works like this. Let's get this song for English viewers. As you can see now, the error is gone. And the list is also adding new item. So if we add this one and we refresh, it shouldn't work, as it only says on the delete. So if we do adding new item and adding extra item, adds, and we should delete this one, it saves. So now does the work here. But we added this pretty spinner, but we're never seeing it. So for now, we're gonna add a little waiter or a delay. Task dot. I'm not really sure what this is. Task dot wait. Timeout or something. Wait for task. Pause. No, I just wanna wait 1 second. Yeah, I just want the thread.sleep, but then the async version task. Oh, it's task.delay. Pretty easy. And that is in. Don't need to block the current threads. So it's basically that. And let's await it, otherwise this probably won't do anything. Let's see how it looks. And now if anyone uses our app, it's complaining that it's too slow, then we can just remove it and say that we did a lot of improvements. We're not seeing the spinner. They should have wind spinner. Show codes. Let's quickly add this to our tailwind CSS. I'm not sure I copied this correctly. I didn't, as that didn't work. I just copied this one. If any of the viewers have any questions about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, or about Blazor or anything else, make sure to request it. Before we can continue, we should use gold CSS. So we are using a tailwind, and it is a dynamic CSS library, I think they call it themselves. So this is just adding that to the library. See if that works. It's a little bit too big, but for now we have a pretty loader. Now let's add the rest. Let me think. Yeah, we wanted to do the save. No, the new item should be first. That's pretty easy. We can just go to this code and also call this. So now when we refresh this and add another one, really nice item. And if we it's now also added, so we can store it in our memory. But we also want we change this, so now we want also the changes here to be saved. And let's quickly move this here. And just go save here. The reason I do this is I need to catch the callback. And it's gonna call save, so just call it from here anyway. So let's add another parameter. Event callback to do item on change. Yeah, let's call it on change as a change. And let's make this prettier. So this should work correctly. And now let's make this also a task and async. And now we can go to our list and on change is save. So now whenever we change something, it should also save it. And now quickly refresh our page. Yeah, so I think I'll leave it like this for tonight. I'll just do some finishing up. Let's first fix edit, remove, and save to local storage. End of episode 1. So if you missed anything about the stream, I will be posting this on YouTube. So if you're interested in that, just give me a subscription on YouTube, and it will be uploaded later today or tomorrow. And you can watch it back in your own time. Let's quickly check our way. To-do list Twitch demo. If you're interested in the link, I will post it in the chat. You can also go to my GitHub page, it's in the description, and find everything. And creating a to-do lists live on Twitch. Let's quickly add set like this. Yep. And also add the link to the episodes in the description here. And end of episode 1. Edit readme. So I'm getting close to the 3-hour mark of this stream. I really appreciated everybody that's watching and everybody that followed. So as I said, if you want to see the parts you missed, maybe you got a little late or missed some parts, I will post it on YouTube. Otherwise, if you're interested in the code, the link to the GitHub page is just dropped in the chat. And here you can find everything. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop in next stream or send me a message through Twitch or Twitter or GitHub. And don't think you can create. You can create an issue here, and I will look at that. So I hope everybody has a great night, and I'll see you guys later.